And yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of October 17th, 2021. On the cover, we have My Hero Academia. Interesting cover because I don't like we had a really big character introduction last week, and I'm curious to see how this cover is gonna play off of that. Like, is this more symbolic? Because the contrasting Deku with Shigaraki right now is that just generally works throughout the entire series. But is that going to be a thing that is a part of this arc specifically? I'm very curious because I don't really know what this arc specifically really entails. There's a character that's been introduced, but apart from that, what exactly they're going to do, or if this is just the lead into the big final war arc, or if we're doing something else right now and this is just a prelude to that. We'll have to see. Yeah, I do really like this cover. It's really cool. It definitely is it's definitely better on Jump, I assume, as opposed to as a banner, because there's nothing here, there's nothing over here, but I wouldn't want them to distort this image or to fill up the sides. It's perfect as is. Anyways, before I begin, I should probably also say that I apologize that this is not going to be live streamed. I had a really bad ear infection last week. Plus, I've got a weird cough. I don't know what's going on there. That can't be related to the ear infection. But I went to my doctor, and they seem to think that it's just got bad ear stuff, and then the cough is just a secondary thing. It'll just go away by itself. But it's in this reaction, that's probably going to be the thing that seems the most sick about me. I apologize for this immediate road bump on my road to going back to normal stuff for the channel, but yeah, it is what it is. So this is all going to be pre-recorded, and also I'm probably going to do it in chunks. I'll do a few I'll do a manga chapter or two, then take a break, then do another two, take a break. Or if I have to stop in the middle of a chapter, I will. I need to do Jump. I just gotta do it. I'll feel 10 times worse if I don't. So I'm just saying that in advance. I apologize if anything's really weird or choppy, but the problems I had last week should be fixed. With, the notable exception of no chat, because of course there's no live stream. Okay, that's enough prelude. Everything that I usually read is running now, and there is no PPP, so this should be a pretty smooth, series of events. So let's jump right into Black Clover, chapter 309, Blink. So, last chapter was, it was Grinberry All. It was the big, finally has his second grimoire. This is the, the true magic that he should have. This is the grimoire that is given to him as a member of this kingdom. So, I'm pretty excited to see what it's gonna be. My guess last time was ice, but then I realized afterwards, wait a minute, that's just that's just Noelle. It would feel really, really weird if he was then stepping on her, whole deal. So I've gone back to, I don't know what in the world his magic is gonna be. Is it ice? Because that looks pretty ice. The Spade Kingdom's royal family has unique magic that's been passed down through generations. So sun magic, moon magic. And the one who inherited their blood, Grinberry all has. I mean, it's got to be a fusion. It's not eclipse magic, obviously, because there's nothing dark about it. So is it just light magic? Maybe has star magic. Okay, so those are supposed to be stars. Interesting. That's a weird combo. The fact that he has wind magic and star magic now. Those are not two things that obviously have a link in my mind. Last time I brought up the ice thing specifically because I was well, what else could possibly combo with his winds to make it even more powerful? But this is interesting. It's very different. And it's unrelated to his spirit dive and all that. I'm curious to see how this is gonna work. Is this really a buff, or is this just a new skill tree? I mean, it's gotta be a buff, especially since, it is connected to the, the royal magic. Okay, can't beat him with star magic alone. That's interesting. It's he's already spirit diving, he's already gonna use the winds, but I still don't really get how these are going to work together. Yeah, that is insane. I was talking about the various buffs that has had, all the things that make him so powerful. I didn't even mention, yeah, he does have a 4-leaf grimoire. That is a big deal. That is something that I just don't think about anymore as being a big deal. But yeah, Boy, Yuno is stacked. Seriously, what are you? The vice captain of the Golden Dawn. All right, here we go. So he put up a barrier. Then what is this going to be? It's teleporting between stars. I mean, the only downside is, of course, being Black Clover. A lot of Black Clover magic is like, it's all based around an element, but like what that actually means as far as what a character can do is kind of iffy. It's kind of just like they can do sort of whatever. It seems like, it's got some level of space to it, which makes sense, stars literally in space. Like, so, got the barrier, he can teleport between stars, and he's got the laser. I'll prove that the choices I've made weren't wrong. I mean, I do love this. I cannot get over how I have flipped on Xenon. Like, he's still not number one in terms of even the Dark Triad. Like, my favorite is still Vodka. Like, I am a sucker for the, crazy rival character. Or not even rival, but like, the crazy obsessive. The person who is like, they will be your enemy. They will be your opposite. Even if you have no idea who they are, even if there's no reason why this is happening, there's like, I will now devote my life to destroying you. There's something to that like extreme obsessive intimacy that I just love in a villain. But I mean, that's kind of why I like Xenon now, because it's not that he specifically hates Yuno, but like he is the opposite of Yuno. Like they have this intimacy through their life choices. Through Xenon being the guy who wants, who makes the hard choices, and then being the character who refuses, like who will always find a different path, who will not sacrifice his friends. I'm the one who's right. I'm the one who will win. What to say about this except hype, hype, hype? Yeah, of the three big fights, like also, this one is cool, but so far it hasn't hit the heights of the other two Dark Triad fights, which is fine, because again, it's not over. But it's still, it's pretty damn cool. And those two were both, like, super stacked, especially, again, the Vodka fight was unbelievable. So, the fact that this is, still capable of being good, and especially with the member of the Dark Triad I cared about the least, like, it is still very, very, very satisfying. I'm still predicting that, I don't think Yuno is going to enter Saint Stage yet. I'm still guessing that he will be right on the brink of Saint Stage, for this fight maybe. And then it'll still be Noel has to tell him how to do it. Like, he's going to have a tiny little, not even training arc, but just like, he has to be told specifically how to do it. And then for the big final fight where he's fighting alongside Asta again, he'll be using it. Because I think that'll also be a good final moment of, now he has two grimoires, now he can access Saint Stage, which is designed specifically to... I didn't even think about this! Holy shit! Wait. Sorry, I didn't consider until right now. The whole thing with Saint Stage is that it can defeat devils. Like, it is the thing that will make Yuno capable of beating Asta, every single time. I mean, but then again, it's magic. And Asta has anti-magic. Like, how does that work? It could, Saint Stage should be effective against all devils, but would it be effective against, like an anti-magic attack? I guess it wouldn't. I feel like it would be, like, it would turn into this game of tag, in which, like, if Asta manages to land anti-magic blows, like, it'll cut right through Yuno's defenses. But if Yuno manages to land a single blow on Asta, it's gonna fucking kill him. Or, like, it'll cause their, like, Devil Union to collapse. Oh, that's so... I didn't think until right now that Saint Stage would, like, play into them, like, the next time they ever have a duel. That's so cool! Oh, I'm so dumb. Anyways, fantastic chapter. Still not super duper hype for Star Magic. Like, what I really... How do I put this? Like, Wind made more sense as just sort of a, it's just an element, it can do anything. With Star Magic, I feel like it needs to have, a little more of a constraint. I need to understand what Yuno can do with it. Like, is the, like, teleporting, like, is that just a one-off thing, or is he going to develop that as well? I'm very curious. And, so cool. And plus, that does, open up the possibility for him to gain a mode eventually that is, like, his, fairy prince attire from, Spirit Dive, but then he's also mixing in, like, the pointy element of the stars. Like, that could be a really cool look eventually. Also, I didn't even think about it, but the star is kind of a, like, more magic-y inverse of Xenon's, like, bone magic. like his bones are super pointy, and then the stars are super pointy, but the bones tend to be like, points going in, like points scattered all over the place coming in on the frame. Whereas the stars are, like a bunch of points all coming out from a certain point. There's something there. I feel like there's something thematic there. Anyways, that's Black Clover. Fantastic chapter. Yeah, I hope that it does well this week. But yeah, I mean, it's solid. It's a good meat and potatoes chapter. With that, let us move on to The Elusive Samurai, chapter 36. Okay, so this is a thing that Ayako, had planned out in advance. Or rather, it was something that Yorishige had planned out in advance. Okay, hence the, the big dance and song. Dengaku was like the club music of its day. Warrior Woman 1334. Okay. Tokiyuki with the big glitter. That is really cool. I've thought of her as just being the big ol' meathead. And, this arc has already shown that she's intelligent. But it's really cool to see that, she's also very, skilled in this regard. You don't just pick up, instruments really, in a day or two. She had to know how to do all of this already. She's really pushing it. But okay, so she's created Time Crunch. She's screwed everything up. They're all off balance. Truly, I am blessed. My retainer has attributes that would charm the masses in a more peaceful time. She's just an idol. Oh, I didn't even think about that. It's not just that they're off guard. It's that, Tokiyuki himself is off guard now. This is kind of for nothing. Tokiyuki has survived, which is the main thing. But this isn't really throwing them off. He's still suspicious. It's just well, we didn't get anything in this time. She's got such a big blush. Oh, okay. Okay. So is he just going off, on his own? Just tossing him? Oh, shit. Okay, she couldn't actually block it. Or, she blocked, but she doesn't have a sword now. Whew. Yeah, she did, he did cut her. Kojiro is skilled with a sword, but I'm no expert in any weapon. Oh boy. Okay, just beating him with the drumstick. Kicks, rocks, the enemy's weapons, musical instruments, and her own body. She uses anything she can. Truly, a jack of all trades, master of none. That's cool in its own right. But she has no specialty in terms of fighting. She's just real strong. Or I mean, the ability to improvise and use whatever's around you is cool in its own right. And okay, so that's why it's Warrior Woman 1334. We are highlighting her, not the lineage necessarily, but just the legacy of strong female warriors and how she is, the latest in that lineage. Every time I say lineage, I mean lineage assumes genetics, but she's not genetically related to them. I do mean it's more of just a thematic thing. Oh no! Oh no! Right! I forgot about her big "I want to rip someone's head off" thing. That's also an interesting gag in its own right. But okay, not removing his head. But she's got the head lust. She's gonna do it eventually. She's gonna rip someone's head off. Get yourself a girl with the talent of an idol and the lust to rip people's heads off. Okay. So, this is not that it's a new thing, but, she had already learned about, the arts of war and the arts of entertainment, and then she had slacked off, and then she got back into them. Cool. I'll use it all for your protection, and then I'll bear you lots of children. Oh no! Oh no! It's so wild thinking that she's also 9. Because she's so big, I kept on thinking of her as being 11 and Tokiyuki as being 9. But no, they're both 9. And yeah, I do think she knows what she's talking about. The big blush confirms it to me. Even if she's, even if she doesn't totally mean it, I think that is something in the back of her head. At heart, she has a loyal and buoyant spirit. She'll be a strong and beautiful warrior, but will I be a worthy lord? This final page is so good. Her just holding Tokiyuki on one arm, and he's what's that called again? That sitting style. Her arm is so broad that both of his legs fit. It's beautiful. I love it. And just the contrast between the horse galloping forward and her being super happy and blushy, and him just, being very blank-faced and confused. Good chapter. They sold me on Ayaka. I get it. I like her. This Tokiyuki duel with Sadamune, the duel of words, wasn't that great, honestly. But it was fine. For what it was okay. It just wasn't, one of my favorite arcs. Which is a shame. Like, I think the metaphors just need to be a little more over the top, because, like, last chapter, it kind of just devolved into a lot of, and I'm shooting arrows at Tokiyuki, and Tokiyuki's not being hit by them. But yeah, I like Ayaka a lot. And I think we've got to do another Shizuku arc sometime soon. Like, I keep on thinking of the introduction of the spirits as being a Shizuku arc, but technically it's not. Like, we haven't had something that's all Shizuku. So I feel like that's probably going to be next. Like, we might have a bit of an interlude here, like, as we set up the next arc, but I'm guessing the next arc is going to be more spirit-focused. Because then also that would allow us to go back to, our main villain, who also has, like, ties to the spirit world. And we can see more about that and, like, what's going on there. Like, see what the spiritual warfare is going to be like. Like, that's already set up, but I feel like, we should do that now so that, like, all of the retainers have had an arc to really shine and to grow and develop. Because after that, I feel like we might just do the time skip. Like, the time skip up to when, like, not to when Tokiyuki is 11 and he's in, the fight from chapter 1. But we might get, like, closer to the road on that. Like, he might actually start, he has to lead at least one army before that point, right? So we might do that. Like, either during the Shizuku arc or right after. And then I think we would just do the time skip. I don't know what else they would necessarily need to do. Yeah, good chapter of the Elusive Samurai. Quality-wise, I can't put it above Black Clover, but it's still solid. Like, it's a good read every week. And that's more than I can give a lot of series, honestly. Like, it's a good read every week, and I know what's coming next most of the time, like when we're in an arc, but it's always a little bit different. I'm always a bit surprised, like, what Ayaka was doing here, and especially, like, the idea of portraying her as an idol in this day, in this ancient era. Like, that's a really cool idea that I never really, I wouldn't have guessed. Yeah, Elusive Samurai is really, really good with its analogies, with, like, making me see this era in ways I just would not think of in the slightest, or, like, seeing the people in ways I wouldn't think of because they can do so many, like, flashes to, future stuff, or to modern day, like, settings and modern day roles and whatnot. Alright, so, that is the Elusive Samurai. Next we've got the Hunter's Guild Red Hood, Chapter 15. Everyone passed. Number 15, end of the line. So, Valu can finally become a hunter. All these characters can finally, become hunters. Everyone, like, I'm so curious to see how the guild is going to handle everyone passing. Okay, great. That does it then. The Hunter's Guild is finished. So what are they doing? What is the purpose of this? Like, I assume we're going to get, like, a hint to the greater thing, like, at the end of each arc now. But what does this mean? Like, is Valu a plant, or is it just a prophecy of, like, we're going to lead up to this final battle, which we know we're going to win, or, like, what's going on here? Huh. And okay, I guess I really didn't think that the mayor was going to. I assume, like, who's going to take care of Valu? I mean, to be fair, that could take it. I assumed that was they're going to kill him, but it could be the opposite. It could be like, we're going to destroy the ironworks, but one of us needs to save Valu so that he can, survive this miraculously for the next stage. It's like he can become more of a main character. But it could also just be, we're going to have to. They can't kill Valu at this point, because that wouldn't make any goddamn sense. Like, he's not a part of the guild. Or, like, even if he is legally a part of the guild, like, he hasn't joined or anything. There's no way that the prophecy has been pushed up to anything that matters, right? Okay. Who's Lycon? So, has he just been, like, unwritten from existence? Because even in this shot, like, we didn't see him. Huh. And how does that work? Like, she knows the name, and she expected him to be there. It seems like only now, like, right now, the, like, change is taking effect. But again, like, they're not. I mean, maybe they're changing the future. Like, maybe Cinderella and Lycon are from the future, and this, like, rewrote something that would have had him caused, like, he would have existed in, until Valu joins. Because, yeah, why else would Lycon cease to exist? If this is, a story about stories, a story about fairy tale characters, then for a character to not exist, I feel like either, like, it can't just be that they are defeated. It has to be, like, their tale is unwritten, or something has happened that has made it so that their tale cannot happen anymore. So, I mean, yeah, the only thing that comes to mind, because, it can. The only things that are coming to mind are the thing I already stated, that, it is time travel of some sort, and now the timeline where Lycon is created doesn't exist. Or it is something where, like there has to be how do I put this? like, members of the Red List only exist as long as their potential story can be told. Like, how am I trying to explain this? In my mind, it's something like, if you have the story of, like, the three little pigs and the big bad wolf, in my mind, it is a situation where, like, if any of the pigs were killed before the story starts, then the big bad wolf would also disappear. Because, like, that story exists, and it is yet to be told. But if that story can't be told, then the characters that are a part of it would disappear. Like, I'm thinking that might be it, like, because everyone passed. Now the Hunters Guild is going to have too many, like, people in it, which means that, whatever story Lycon is in would not work out, because now there, like, there would necessarily be too many characters for that story to happen? I'm feeling pretty shaky about that, but let me know what you think. All right. And yeah, it seems like she's completely fine with everyone passing. Like, otherwise, like, if she was more vindictive, she would probably go with the, like, yeah, she could have said, well, anyone who's knocked out doesn't pass. Like, if Grimm was the sole person running this, I feel like she would be way more vindictive. Really cool. Huh. Which means everything went according to the scenario you wrote out, right? Like, so are we like, is Debonair then stating that, like, Grimm intentionally, like, that doesn't make any sense. There's no way the Grimm planned for Valu to do all of this. Like, there's no way. Okay. So, he was too tricky for his own good. I didn't want to be betrayed. I got suspicious, so I let that trust slip away. But, like, initially, he did trust him. And okay, so yeah, Grimm didn't have a scenario in mind, but Debonair thought she did. And scenario also, like, I do want to say, I do remember the Red List, talking about, the scenario, like, in a more meta sense. I didn't say anything because I assumed, like, I thought that we were doing, like, a parallel between the Red List and Grimm, but yeah, if Grimm doesn't have one, then that makes me even more interested in what's going on here. Okay, what's the plan the guild has? I mean, we're not going to get to that yet, but still, like, we have to talk about it eventually. Like, Valu is very one track about this. Like, he has been, he wants to know that specifically above all else. And I mean, that's probably going to tie into why, Lycon disappeared. Okay, we'll discuss the secrets the guild's discovered about werewolves, and the plan's been put into place. Okay, so we are just going to talk about it here. Cool. Debonair's taking Grimm away. Like, with the scenario thing, I wonder if it is supposed to be a, like, Grimm just doesn't know about, like, this big ploy that is happening, and Debonair is going to give her the quick, like, hey, you remember this, right? Like, you remember the plan, right? HQ looks, interesting. Curious about what the heck this is. Like, over here is obviously, like, man-made stuff, but then, like, what are these, and what is this? I feel like this, like, yeah, the rocks here are too obviously designed, but not in an industrial sense. Like, the ironworks looks very industrial. These, like, this, like, whole facility here looks very industrial. This stuff doesn't. So I assume that, like, members of the Red List had to have made these. And, like, the Hunters Guilds took over this area. But I'm assuming this area was, like, the home of some crazy magic stuff before. I am Lycon. This letter was protected. If you read this and know not who I am, and do not see an enormous werewolf by your side, then kill that man immediately and steal back his pages. Okay. So, did the mayor steal Lycon's, like, because it is, pages. So, did the mayor steal Lycon's, like, existence? Also, just the idea that, like, this letter was protected. Like, they have some way of, like, doing stuff so that, like, even if they cease to exist, at least some, things they have created will continue to persist. I'm really, really hoping we get into the weeds, like, not immediately with that stuff, but, like, that's the kind of stuff where, like, I really want to know how it all works. There has to be an underlying logic to it. Okay. So Lycon does say what his true goal is, but she didn't know it. Or, like, she knows now, but she didn't before. What's the word bug mean to you? Tokamak, curry, hay fever. Oh, are we doing a, like, in the same way that Lycon has ceased to exist because his pages were taken away? Is that why Grimm doesn't seem to know what's going on? Is it that, like, some of her history has also been ripped away? Because, yeah, like, Debonair doesn't seem, she's not the type to have, like, wacky code words and whatnot. The fact that she's rattling all of this off immediately makes me think that these aren't, like, like, it's not a sleeper agent awakening situation, but rather this is probably stuff that Grimm knew in the past, and she doesn't remember it now. Grimm of the 100 Canyons had her memories manipulated. Okay. Ironworks gang quarantines. Why? Is someone here like a villain? Huh. We're enacting the anti-corrosion protocol. And also, like, the book pages. So, question is also, like, is it that, do they have the book? Or is it just a general, like, the book is out there and we need to protect it? Mystery on top of mystery. Also, so werewolves do have lycanthropy, which is a type of disease. But we do know for a fact that, like, not all werewolves are created by, or, like, how do I put this? Like, in the first few chapters, we were told specifically, like, sometimes a werewolf just appears for no reason. So is that true or is that not? 'Cause I mean, like, to be fair, yeah, I guess like, if it is just a disease, then it's possible that, like, the infection is on, like, a rusty nail or something, and someone gets pricked by it, and then there's obviously no werewolves in the area, but that person turns into a werewolf. That would make it seem as if, like, there is no connection there. Okay, they're on standby now. Happening. This wasn't a scenario written into the true book. Oh boy, okay, what the fuck is this? Someone other than I is editing the outline. Oh no, the 2 ripped pages. But okay, so I assume those pages are the ones that the mayor has now. Whoever does the writing doesn't matter to whoever does the reading. The true book's blank pages are the future. The words in it set the laws of nature and build the structure of this world. 13 years ago, someone ripped out 2 pages and disappeared. Now those pages are taking effect. So, makes sense, like, the mayor had the Wolfonium axe. Clearly he was, a hunter in the past. He's the one who ripped out the pages. But then, for what purpose? And, like, he's just here now. He just showed up. What is the purpose of this? Yeah, they are just talking. Like, why is this happening so early? Like, in chapter 15 of all things. Oh, what if he is Lycaon? Like, what if this is a, like, because the pages rule what reality is. What if the reason why Lycaon disappeared was because he just wrote, like, I am the human form of Lycaon? I had to do it if I'm to drag Grim, the Red Hood, out of her role, and crown you, the Hunter Valoo, as the main character in her stead. Okay, so that's not just a, like, seeing situation. That is just a straight up portal. It's been a long time, but how about I tell you a story? Long, long ago, dragons flew the sky, but the hunters exterminated every last one of them. That's a story that I wrote 500 years ago. Okay. That is, of course, a reference to, the first chapter of the series. So why? Why would he want Grim to, like, it is the Hunters Guild Red Hood, or in Japanese, it is just Red Hood, right? Like, the series is just called Red Hood originally. So this is a clear, like, I'm going to make Red Hood not the main character, and I'm going to make you, Valoo, the main character now. But why? For what purpose? Also, I didn't go evil there. I did just, like, cough weirdly. It sounded like I was about to transform. But why? We still don't really have any hints as to what any of this could possibly be for. And yeah, I don't really have any guesses for what the situation would be. I sure hope that, the series isn't getting canceled. But I don't think so. Like, the start of the series was also very much like this. Like, it was very, we're doing stuff, and then I'm going to do a big ol' shake-up twist that doesn't, that feels very different and that recontextualizes everything. So this also makes sense to me as a big, like, we're just going to shake it up, we're just going to recontextualize everything. Like, we're going into the next arc, and this is the big kickoff for it. Yeah, based on the information we have, I'm genuinely lost as to what could possibly, like, what he is doing. Or why the mayor would be doing it. Because, yeah, especially, like, revealing himself. Like, we start this chapter with Valoo, like, restating his thing. I want to be a hunter so I can get revenge for the mayor's death. I want to do that by, killing all the werewolves. If the mayor is alive, that immediately puts a little crimp in his whole motivation, which is important for, the main character. So, why? Like, does the mayor just want to replace his motivation with a more meta one? Is he just like, yeah, if I just outright say what I'm doing, then of course you'll still do it because it's still important. Because it could be many things. It could just be like, the Hunters Guild will not actually be able to erase all of the red list, and he is creating a main character who can. I mean, also, we know that Grim has had her memories tampered with, which adds even more context to the first arc. Like, the idea that she shows up and she's, not competent enough to take out, 3 werewolves, essentially. Like, the start of the series makes more and more sense every single chapter, like, as we learn more and more about the, the nature of the series. But I don't understand what the end game is at all. And that's a really weird feeling. It's not bad necessarily, it's just really weird. It's not the kind of thing I expect from a Jump series, which is good and bad. Good in that, it is very different. It is something that makes me very excited. I want to know what happens next. But at the same time, like, it creates this sort of shaky energy around it. Like, I don't really know why I would want to, like, I don't know how popular the series is. Because I don't know if people are into this sort of storytelling. I'm into it to an extent, but, like, it's, like, the more traditional shonen stuff is genuinely more compelling to me than this mystery. This mystery is really cool, but every time we focus on it, I'm always kind of, like, middle of the road with it. As opposed to it, like, being mind-blowing, or it, like, really gripping me, or, like, I don't have that many theories. It's so weird. Like, I'm a very, like, theory-heavy person, and yet I don't really have any theories to what the hell is going on. So it's a weird feeling. But it's a good Red Hood, and I am genuinely very excited to see what happens next. It's less of a, I'm making lots of ideas way, and it's more of a, like, I'm just here for the ride. I'm just curious to see what's going on. So with that, better than Elusive Samurai, not quite up there with Black Clover. Yeah, because, like, Black Clover is also compelling, but it's also just more, like, straightforwardly exciting. Whereas this is intriguing, but I don't really, it hasn't tickled the part of my brain that makes me want to theorize as to what the heck is happening. Alright, so, no more spinning in circles, we're moving on. Next is Neru, Way of the Martial Artist, Chapter 14. I'm very iffy as to whether I'm going to keep this in the live streams. Like, I like Neru a lot, but last chapter I didn't have that much to say in the live stream. So I might just keep this in the pre-recordeds for a while as well. See how I'm feeling about it. He was always like that, before he dove. Do you know where a dragon lurks? So, dove, I assume they mean, like, as if, like, he intentionally failed out, or he intentionally, like, took the dive. Skill 14, Abyss. Though, Abyss then recontextualizes this a bit. Like, do you know where a dragon lurks? It could be, like, he dove into the abyss. Could go either way. Right now I'm going to take it as, like, he did intentionally fail at some point. Which would make sense, like, he realized that he has the potential to kill, he didn't want to confront that, and so he intentionally lost the match. And ever since then, he's been very demotivated. Neru behind you! Whew. Damn, really just bent it. I love this sibling relationship. Rihi. Who is that? Can't follow him. No, that's not it. My body feels heavy. What's this feeling? It's like something clinging to me. Is it some kind of pressure? Interesting, they're both feeling it. What could this be? I mean, is it just killing intent? Like an abyss, his presence engulfs the entire place. What is going on with him? Like, is it his killing intent? That's the best idea I have right now. Techniques for battling a guy with mystical strength. Okay. I think a family of mystical strength has an innate understanding of how to connect with the center. And yeah, that's what he brought up before. That's why he's so good at stacking. Can Neru connect with the center, like, under this pressure? Like, Neru can definitely copy things really fast, but, being connected to the center feels, it feels more spiritual. It doesn't feel like something you can just, like, memorize via, like, muscle memory. Okay, I mean, what is Neru gonna do here? He's got so little to go off of. Now let's clean up before the abyss is stained black. Ah, damn. Now that is the ferocity of a man who cut off his own ear. And okay, now they're saying, like, that Enkoji person, you didn't accept their challenge, little brother. Like, we have, like, initially they gendered Enkoji as male, but now it seems like we're going for a, like, we have no idea. Oh boy. I mean, yeah, this is the, like, is this yandere? It's basically yandere. Just more yawn than I think most people want from a yandere character. This is a person who just wants pain and suffering. I mean, yeah. I don't think they're going to be satisfied until they are dead. Oh, crap. Was that hit Neru? Deeper. Let's drown together. Remember that pitch black version of you. The abyss is being filled up with darkness. Hey. Yeah, this arc hasn't been my favorite, but, like, it's still solid. Like, every chapter has been, good. It's just, it hasn't been giving me the same highs as, like, the first couple of chapters of the series. But I am very excited to see what, like, this whole concept of the center is the thing I'm most interested in right now. Like, because it's not that he has fallen from grace, and it's not that being connected to the center is separate from his, like, bloodlust, his desire to kill. he is still unbelievably talented and really, really strong. He just doesn't have motivation. And it's because, he's so scared that he has the potential to kill. Like, I'm so curious to see how they're going to, like, tie this all together into a bow. Or if they are. Like, it's very possible this is, the hint of something that Neru's going to, like, have to focus on for the next couple of arcs. Or we could tie it all together now, but I don't know how. Like, this arc is so chaotic. Like, it's not as simple as something like, the bow and arrow event, where it was like, I know the character Neru is going to connect to, and I understand, like, even if I don't know how they're going to resolve it, the themes have already been set up, and now we just have to carry them to the end. But, like, I don't really know the themes of this arc besides, the center and his bloodlust. And, the fact that he's fighting against it because he doesn't want to, like, fall into Enkaji's, psychotic energy. Yeah, good chapter. Also, was this short? No, not really. This was a pretty long chapter. Like, this is average. It felt really, really fast. Do I put this above the Elusive Samurai? I think I gotta put it below. Like, it wasn't that good. It's not something I'm going to be thinking about a lot. Whereas, like, this Elusive Samurai chapter, I'm definitely gonna think about. Red Hood, even if it, didn't scratch the itch I wanted it to, still gonna think about it a lot. Yeah, this one is just sort of, it's touching on the same themes as before. With that, let us move on to Sakamoto Days. Chapter 43. I was going to say Days 43, and technically this has to be Days 43. But we don't have the thing here to say what the chapter's called. So, we got Osaragi, we got Dump. I forgot their names last time because I had sick bad brain. Still don't fully understand what Dump's deal is. Like, I was thinking about it afterwards, like, I mean, it is dump as in I, am dumping people. Like, I date them and then I dump them. But I don't know how the big stabby plays into it. Like, it is consistent. We know for a fact that, all of Dump's victims have had, like, big holes, like, stabbed in them. But what is this? What is Dump? Last chapter with, Osaragi grabbing Dump's head and then, like, smashing it into everything, by the way. So cool. I'm a sucker for, the Osaragi type. Like, the extremely, like, not no emotions, but, like, very cool, very, like, doesn't express their emotions very well, but does have emotions. I just find it endlessly entertaining. Okay, Days 43, I love you. So I assume we're going to get, like, Dump's whole backstory and the whole, like, what is Dump's deal? Incidentally, I've been, dancing around the pronouns because I don't know if Dump's ever been, confirmed to be a gender. All I did was fall in love, so I was arrested and sentenced to death. Isn't that atrocious? Okay. Oh, I keep on forgetting to make it big. Sorry about that. But okay, so yeah, nothing personal. Just, the JA is my home. The order is, well, fly swatter. What is it? Because, oh yeah, she seems very upset about this. But, like, we've never seen her with a weapon, right? Have we? I feel like, during the whole museum thing, she probably had a weapon, right? But I cannot envision what is in this bag. Like, she's really strong on her own. Like, what weapon would she use to, like, augment her abilities? 2 spikes in her hands and 6 in her body. Okay, so we are getting a gender. Cool. Yeah, does she hide them in her bones? How do these spikes work? And it is cool that we have, like, a definite number on it. Like, it's not just, these spikes come out wherever. I don't want to get too close since I didn't bring any band-aids with me today. Such a cute fear. Oh, there goes Buddha's head. God damn. Ooh, there goes all the bones. Also, I mean, I never call it out, but God, the backgrounds in Sakamoto Days are so gorgeous. Like, it really adds to the direction of the series. Like, this feels so good. It feels so big and expansive. Like, Sakamoto Days is the kind of series where, like, I can see it so clearly in my head in live action, but I don't really want it to ever get adapted into live action, because I know it can't possibly be this good. Like, they're either going to make it more cartoony, or they're going to, like, do a big Hollywood and make it shitty. But this is, like, it feels so perfect, because I can envision it completely in live action in my head. It's so, like, every panel, even the most absurd panels, have a level of grounding to them that I can envision so clearly. Oh, the mangaka's loving just, breaking shrine etiquette here. Oh, I imagine this is going into her eye, right? Like, just big stab. It's always been a mystery to me. If I were the gods, I would never have created people like you and me. Ah, god damn. What is Osaragi made out of? Like, that's so badass to, push her hand through the spike. Ah. God damn. Like, she's so scary. It is wild that, like, Dump is the serial killer here, but Osaragi has 10 times the amount of serial killer energy to her. Like, Dump feels more like a protagonist. Like, just, being all fired up and being all, like, talkative and whatnot. Like, Osaragi is so creepy in a good way. Oof. She kills whatever she holds. Also, so, Dump isn't like a code name. Like, this is just, a random person who fell in love with her, who is saying, I love you, Dump. When they were afraid, I truly had their full attention. Yeah, it's an eternal cycle then of, like, waiting until the moment where someone is the most terrified so that you can feel that sense of love. And then, of course, they're dead, so then they can't pay attention to anything. Truly a broken person. Which, yeah, like, that does tie very well into what Osaragi was saying. Like, that clearly, like, whatever's going on with her, Osaragi is not okay. Like, this is not just a fun gimmick. Like, something is fundamentally wrong with her to be able to do this sort of thing. Like, to be an assassin that can kill top-level assassins. And, like, whatever's going on with her mentality. Like, it is a clear, like, Dump is just living in this milieu of, like, I'm really fucked up, but I'm fine with it because I can keep on indulging myself. Whereas Osaragi, at the very least, has the, like, self-awareness to be like, yeah, this is really fucked up. I don't think this is okay, but I'm not going to kill myself because I need to kill other people more. Or I need to maintain the order more than I need to, like, die myself. Okay, got the briefcase. Oh, she actually did have the saw before, right? Did she have the saw in the, I guess it doesn't matter now. But if so, I totally forgot about it until right now. We're killers, but because people like you exist, I have a reason to go on living today. Thank you. I love you. That feel when your yandere gets killed by a much bigger yandere. Now, Dump feels the fear. Now Dump is entirely fixated on one person. God damn. The perspective of the shot is so good. And the way she just slices through all of these pillars. Now, this is a bit extra. Osaragi did not need to cut all of these. I see why the cleanup crew is so pissed off all the time. This was definitely avoidable. God damn, it looks cool. Alright, so that's one more serial killer down. We're down to 2. We are just mowing through them. And yeah, there's no way the Dump survived this. Like, we already cut through the stabby things as well. Curious to see if we'll get an explanation for what the hell those were. Or, like, how those were implanted. We know cyborgs exist, so it's not, like, ridiculous. But still, it feels like something that, they could explain later if they wanted to. Yeah, we're running out of killers. And, like, not everyone in the order seems like they're even going to be able to get a fight at this rate. I'm still guessing that Minimalist is going to fight Sakamoto. But apart from that, I'm guessing it's just going to be, like, 2 other people from the order face off against one of the other serial killers and just straight up murk them. Because, yeah, all we have left are the super OCD person and a Minimalist, right? There were only 4, right? Yeah, there were only 4. So, yeah, it's just those 2. So I'm guessing that maybe the old man and one of the others will take on, Cut Apart Boy. Because he's also, like, the most neurotic. He's the one where we already know his gimmick. So I feel like, yeah, we probably don't need to have them fight, a member of Sakamoto's. Whereas I think Minimalist is just going to be so damn powerful that he's going to he's going to just walk into Sakamoto's and start fighting. And, like, we could do some fun goofs with that, with, him, like, destroying their products and whatnot. Also, if any of them are going to just, like, kill a member of the, of Order, it might be Minimalist. Like, if they really want to hype him up beforehand. But I don't think they even have to. I feel like he's hype enough at this point. Yeah, I already liked Osaragi's aesthetics, and I think a big part of that is also that, like, we've seen more of the Order in slice-of-life scenarios than we've seen of them, like, actually fighting. Like, that does make them, like, it gives them more time to breathe. But even then, we don't really know the deals for a lot of them. Whereas, like, Osaragi's gotten a lot of focus already. And, like, I like her gags, I like her whole energy. And this was the perfect, like, leaning into that, leaning into her, like, not expressing herself, but clearly being very emotional and very sadistic, and, like, it's perfect. It's such a good picture of her, like, energy as a character. Fantastic. There's gotta be a lot of fan art of her, right? Like, I think also she has a very compelling design, and that, like, it is relatively easy to draw, like, in general. Like, the mesh and all that, like, that is very difficult. Same with the veil. But, like, you can cheat on that, and fundamentally, she is just a tall woman with, blank eyes and a big black dress. Like, she's no, she's not, like, Grim from, Red Hood. She doesn't have that level of, like, mimetic design, but, like, she has a very compelling design. Also, actually, do we have another shot of, I was just staring at her, throat here. And she does have, like, a puncture hole there. Or, like, a place where, like, clearly something stabbed into it and then it healed over. Maybe that's going to tie into, like, why, why her method of killing is, like, the big stabby. But did we see it before that point? Yeah, it's right there. I mean, I guess it could also just be tattooed on, now that I think about it, but I don't know. I feel like even after all the serial killers are dead, I feel like we're still going to get more information about them afterwards. They don't feel like absolute throwaways to me. And, like, the series, for the most part, hasn't really killed characters off. It's been a lot of, like, we introduce the character, and then there's a fight, and then they're still around. They might come up later. Whereas I think, like, all of the serial killers are going to die. But I think, like, we're going to get more context after they're dead. Of, like, what they were like, or, like, the idea that they were part of something before they got picked up by Slur. That's sort of the energy I get from them. Yeah, good Sakamoto Days. I mean, it's gotta be above Black Clover, right? It was just so fun. Like, the action was so much more dynamic. Like, Black Clover is fine, but there tends to be a lot of, like, this looks cool, but I'm not really feeling it. I don't really understand how the magic is working here unless it's a big stab or a big blast or something. Whereas, like, if there's one thing I have to give credit to Sakamoto Days for, it is that in every single fight, I understand the energy so clearly all the way through. Like, I can see the characters moving in my mind every single time. I am never confused about where they are placed in space-time. It's so satisfying. Okay, so that is Sakamoto Days. Let us move on to Undead Unluck, Chapter 83. The Lives You Wager Shall Be. So, last chapter, Fuko finally made it to Spring. Andy cut off his own head. He is willing to gamble everything on Billy seeing Fuko beat Spring. We still don't really know what her plan is going to be. My best guess has been she has to, find a way to love Spring, whether it is, like as someone said in chat, like whether it is just the season itself, or whether it is literally the Uma itself, or like, something like that. Like, I feel like it's got to be Spring rolls the dice, and then as proof of concept, she manages to touch Spring and, like, unluck Spring just enough so that the dice, end up against its favor. And then after that's where it's really like how do I put this? Spring already has the ability to make petals where if you touch them, you turn into a tree. That is the ultimate, don't touch me move. I don't know how Fuko is going to survive, like, if it can, just make a shield out of the petals, or if it can, like, fling the petals at her. Like, she's relatively fit now, but she's not, like, superhuman in any sense. Like, of any member of the Union, she is the one who I think has the least chance of being able to, like, dodge or block petals being thrown at her. The only thing I could think of that could counter that would be if the petals count as part of Spring. Like, if, before the petal can change her, she unlocks the petals. Because I also, I don't really know how else her unluck can evolve beyond, just, changing the way in which she perceives Spring, and then using her love for Spring to make her unluck extra effective. Yeah. Oh, it's so cool seeing the support team. They never really get a lot of focus. Like, the only one I can recognize, obviously, is Miko. I don't think the others even have names. Person here with a big old helmet. We have what looks like Nerdy Andy. The end, it's always negators risking their lives. Damn, that's a big Uma. Like, not as big as a lot of the other Uma, to be fair, but still bigger than I expected. I was envisioning Spring as being, like, not Fuko-sized, but, a foot or two taller than Andy. Like, that's what's always been in my head. Of, still big, but not this big. Not, 3 Fukos high. I mean, 3 Fukos high sitting down. Okay, I've come to talk to you. She's gonna try a likability boost now. And okay, so Spring's already in phase 2. Interesting. That does make sense. Like, phase 1, I assume, might have just been a big tree, whereas phase 2 is now, now we have the physical form, now it can talk. Once night came, you looked extremely lonely. You didn't just directly attack people, maybe you just had something you need to talk about. I'm so curious to see if this is gonna work. 'Cause yeah, like this is radical love. This is radical, like, acceptance. This is the big like it's not like we're not gonna kill you, but that doesn't mean I can't figure out what your deal is first. But I mean, would anyone try this? And there's no reason why he has to refuse. He could just say, screw it, I don't care. This isn't what Uma do, I'm going to try and kill you. But there's no reason why he, won't indulge her. You're dressed and carry things that are made by man, like parasols and wooden geta sandals. Okay. In Old Edo, cherry trees were reviled as being sinister. The falling petals were seen as harbingers of demise, signs of ill omen. Hence, they were reviled. Oh, this tiny little spring! Tiny little blob spring! When I was found out as a demon of blossoms by the likes of man, they would give chase to slay me, wishing me dead all the while. 'Tis for that reason, cherry trees are the things that I turned all of them into. Interesting. Like, this does also mean that, like, up to this point, I think it's been kind of ambiguous as to whether the Uma, like, we know that, the negators and the Uma are two sides of the same coin. Like, when a rule is put into place, the Uma is the personification of that rule, and then a negator is created, with the same concept, but, negating that concept. But I don't know if we've ever, like, stated specifically that the Uma are always around in the world, or that they've been around, like, throughout human history. Like, up until now, it has been completely possible that, like, Uma Burn could have just, existed in sort of a void space until eventually God was like, I'm just gonna, send this one out. Like, not that it didn't exist, but that, like, it existed, but it wasn't just, like, hanging out on Earth. Whereas this implies, like, spring has always been hanging around on Earth. Like, it's just been existing this whole time. Which is interesting. Because, like, if these guys had killed spring, like, would spring as a concept have ceased to exist? Or is it a big, like, only negators would have been able to kill it? Oh, it's a game of chance. Right, I mean, how do you respond to this? Like, I feel like she is just going to say, I don't want to hurt you. Or, like, there's no reason why you have to hurt other people. I love cherry blossoms. A long time ago, there were wars, and everyone was sensitive about death. That's why they started associating it with the fleeting nature of cherry blossoms. Nowadays, people are focused on new encounters and new journeys, and it's cherry blossoms in spring that help evoke that imagery. They're things that I always envied. Like, she's making a connection. Like, this is simultaneously improving the strength of her unluck as it relates to spring, while also potentially talking spring down. Like, I feel like they're definitely going to fight, but I'm not completely ruling out the chance of Fuko just saying, like, just completely talking down spring. I mean, they do she does have to kill him, but it might be a situation where, like, spring accepts death. Like, I guess that would be the end outcome of completely talking down spring. Like, just, hey, can you just un-cherry tree everyone and then die? Oh, man. It's still, like, I love, like, just the shorthand of Fuko having long hair to represent, her past. It's so strong. It immediately hits me with the, like, I think she looks really good with long hair. But every time I have the double, like, moment of, oh, right, yeah, this is when she was young, she didn't get her hair cut, because if anyone were to cut her hair, they would die. Like, it's so tragic. It's such a perfect reminder. I'm sure that someone you don't know who loved spring and changed the perception of it. That cherry blossoms, that spring itself is the season for new encounters. So, okay, I didn't even think about this. Like, it is possible that by changing your perception of the Uma, like, maybe she's just going to make it a tiny little blob again. Like, we've never seen an Uma revert from, its multiple stages. But it's possible that, like, because they're always fighting Uma, like, because of that, the Uma become more and more, like, battle-ready, and more dangerous. It's possible that she could just be, like, pushing it, down from being, she could push it back to, like, phase 1. Run away. Run away. No, that's away. Oh, is God forcibly evolving spring, actually? Like, maybe this is a situation where spring would have given up, but it's, like, being forcibly pushed into fighting Fuko. Yeah, looks different. The lives you wager shall be 100,000 total. Have we never seen a third phase for Enuma? I thought Spoil got into a third phase, but maybe I am just thinking of the second phase as being the third phase. Interesting. So yeah, I think this is definitely God, like, hitting the big override. Because also, like, if they're usually done at phase 2, that either implies that, like, God needed to power up this Uma to make it capable of fighting Fuko, or alternatively, that she would have killed it. That, like, she had, like, she would have won in that moment, and, like, Spring had to evolve into phase 3 in order to continue fighting. Should you win this bet, the Blossom's lives in my core shall be yours to take. Should you lose, the lives you have wagered shall join the bevy of blossoms. Okay. Oh, they're so cocky about this. Like, not cocky necessarily, but like, they are free enough to joke about it. Like, they know they're all going to be part of the 100,000. They're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Which is also just a wild statement, actually, to think about. That the Union does have over 100,000, human beings as a part of it. Like, I've never considered, the strength of the Union as being like tens of thousands of non-negators. That is insane to think about. I'm sure that you have a heart capable of caring for someone. If you do, I can reach it. I can beat you with my unluck. And yeah, like Spring said, run away. Spring clearly has the capability. Yeah, I'm 100% like, I definitely think that Spring was just like overridden by God. We're doing the big gambling spirit bomb. Everyone, lend me your lives. I need to do a big bet so that I can get to know Spring more, so that I can get to love Spring more. I ask you, please, put your lives in my hands. It's so cool. All right, here we go. But yeah, in order for this to work, she has to touch him at some point. So yeah, like, I'm very curious as to whether the petals are going to count as her touching Spring. Because it's either that or, I mean, like, if he has to roll the dice, then I guess she could just say, you have to let me touch the dice, or we have to both be holding the dice or something. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why she could tell Spring, like, hey, we're just gonna touch. Like, if you want to do the gamble, then we have to physically touch. It's fine. But this is so cool. Like, just, I can't get over it. I can't get over the idea of, like, Fuko gambling with 100,000 lives, and all of these members of the Union being fine with it, and them, like, just believing in her. It's so good. Undead Unluck is good. Yeah, really excited to see what this arc is going to be like. Or, like, what this confrontation is going to be like. Because, like, she has to love Spring more and more. And I do think, like, what she has said has definitely, like that definitely works. And then seeing Spring say, get away, I feel like that's definitely increased her affection. But, like, how much further can she go with level 3 Spring? Like, what else can she possibly do? I know she'll do it. I'm so excited to see her rationale. God, Undead Unluck is so good. And it is wild, like, yeah, like, Andy didn't sacrifice himself. I assume none of the members of, like, the core members of the Union, like, the other 10 people, have almost certainly not given themselves up, because they still need to fight. Like, I don't think they should have. But that also, like, because none of them have given their lives, it still opens the possibility for, like, a final gamble where she has to then also gamble all of them. Yeah, consider me hype. I'm getting this feeling that we're probably next chapter going to cut away to, like, some of the other mini fights, but I don't want to. I just want to focus on this. Like, if we're gonna cut to any other perspectives, I want it to be Billy and Andy watching this all go down. But I definitely don't want to just, like, pad it out. And it doesn't seem like we're doing that. So yeah, consider me hype. That's Undead Unluck. Does it go right to the top? I mean, it doesn't have that surprise elements to it. This is fundamentally what I thought we were going to do, and that always takes a little of the air out, but it is, like, the execution is still really, really good. I feel like I've got to put this just below Sakamoto Days. Like, this is very, very good, but yeah, like, anything where I basically, like, I've already kind of called how it's gonna go, and then it is just sort of going in that direction. Like, specifically, like, how do I put this? I wouldn't want it to be a wacky twist that doesn't make any sense, but it still isn't, like, it's satisfying, but it's not as satisfying to see as something like Sakamoto Days, where, like, I could have guessed how, like, that fight was going to go as well, but the execution was just super, super mind-blowing. And, like, Undead Unluck has done way better execution before, so I'm expecting, the really iconic parts of this arc to happen, in a couple of chapters. So it's fine to have one that is just, just second place, just the second best thing in Jump right now. All right, with that, let us move on to Dr. Stone, chapter 214, Stone World's Earth Defense Force. Does this connect to last week's one? Let me just check real quick. I feel like we had a color page last week that was very similar. Yeah, you just see, like, a sliver of his face that's missing, and there's a sliver here, but there's no way that it would be like you connect them together and it's two Senkus. Like, I might try and stitch them together later, but there's no way. That doesn't make any sense. Also, Stoneworld's Earth Defense Force is a wild-ass title. So last chapter, we ended with the Medusa being activated, I assume because they pumped all the air out of the area around the Medusa. I'm assuming that the Medusa will automatically activate if it's in an area without oxygen for like a given period of time, or in, like in a vacuum. And they just, accidentally did that. Or, they didn't accidentally put it into an area with in a vacuum, but they did that, and they didn't consider that, it might be rigged to do, to activate. Now, how big is this Petra beam going to be? Because, yeah, they are on the ship. The entire ship could be petrified here. So how did they guess that it was going to stop right here? Oh, the absolute confidence of Senku, standing right in front of the beam and not being touched. But okay, so the Petra beam speed is proportional to its range. That makes sense. Yeah, like, that is really, really cool. And, like, this shot is so cool. Like, the idea that they've mathed it out, like, the math is absolutely perfect. And he is just, like, almost touching the petrification beam without it actually touching him. So cool. All right, crack him back out. Oh, poor Yo with his even shittier hair now. Huh, and it did smash the glass, actually. Before, I thought that the beam was, like, also destroying Yo, but someone pointed out, like, no, that's almost certainly not what's happening. Yo just probably tripped. And that makes sense. But, like, the beam did definitely smash open the glass, which is interesting. Like, we've always known that it is a substance, that it's not literally light, that it is, like, something that expands until it, reaches a certain point. And there is, like, a substance to it. This now confirms that it can, like, apply pressure, which is interesting. Okay, and thank you again for being here. Like, if all we had to go off of was Yo, then they would be fucked. We would have, like, an entire arc of them getting to the wrong conclusion. But I trust Gen to say exactly what was actually happening. So, a clamor inside the safe, the sound of glass cracking, the click, the flash. Yeah, no one touched or spoke to the safe or the device. It was just in a vacuum. It is interesting that they specifically, it was rattling, then there's the crack, then there was the click, then there was the flash. Like, we've heard before the, like, they say something, and then it clicks, and then flash. So this is a, like, that doesn't mean that it's not necessarily, like, it's not that this substance applied pressure, which then destroyed the glass. The glass was shattered, like, before even the click happens. So what the hell is that? Like, maybe the Medusa's designed to, like, how did it shatter the glass? That's the main thing. Because that makes it seem like it is designed specifically to, like, destroy a vacuum tube if it happens to be in it. I don't know how that would relate to, it just being in the void of space. The rattling might just be a, like, I'm going to set these up so that they rattle so that, if I accidentally put them in the vacuum of space, I'll have enough time to, like, see that they're being activated and then pull it back. Or, like, give it the deactivation code or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's Y-Man. There's no way. Because, like, Y-Man's, like, big plan was, I'm going to just keep on transmitting, the line in Senku's voice that will activate the Medusa that will make it, like, freeze the entire world. If he could just directly transmit that to the Medusa, Y-Man would have. That would have been it. That would have just been the end. So yeah, I think it's 100% the Medusa will do this if it's ever in a vacuum. Okay, saying that we gotta go hard and fast. Chrome desperately trying to stall them while he figures out how to do a return flight. Damn. Like, I knew the moon was big, but saying it like that, like, the idea that the moon is basically 1/4 the size of the entire Earth, like, yeah, that definitely puts into perspective that you can't just keep on walking around until you eventually find him. Okay, they popped out the battery. While you're bringing it to us from the US, did you happen to meddle with it? Oh, there's a chance someone scheduled this. That's a cool idea. Now, I will say this every time Chelsea shows up. This is a thing that anyone besides Chelsea could say and it would be fine. But the fact that it's Chelsea annoys me. I gotta stop. I feel like she's just a part of the series. She's as much a main character now as Taiju ever was. I gotta calm down, but just she's so irritating. I hate it. Okay. And that does put a big crimp in their plans, to use it if they ever, like, want to revive someone. There's always the possibility that they pop in the the battery and then it just activates on its own. Like, that does add a layer of danger to it now. Perseus D. Monkey? I'm sorry, what? Karare, explain yourself. Explain yourself. What the fuck? Boy, One Piece is getting wild. Aw, oops, all poison. Okay, what are we doing here? Coat a photoelectric surface with these poisons. That light, meaning whatever the lens sees, is converted to electrical signals. Oh, they got a camera. Okay, cool. And right, I did forget about the media thing from last chapter. But yeah, even in this new world, whoever controls the media basically owns the world. Dragon TV, no, Ryusui's already taking over. It's already monopoly. Nobody's betraying our society now that we're offering this. Lee Team versus Xeno Team. I love it. Of course the Americans would be so into the reinvention of baseball. Okay. Ooh. It's gonna tell us Y-Man's location on the moon. Makes sense. I mean, yeah, like, if they can, like, detect anything man-made on the moon, then that'll, like, super narrow it down. Even our best telescope doesn't show us enough from down here on Earth. But picture this, an eye up in space. Ooh, okay. So yeah, it's not even like a super advanced telescope. It is like, they're just gonna make a goddamn satellite. An eye up in space beaming a live feed down to us so we can scan the moon's surface. They're doing it. It's time, it's time, it's time, it's time. We're making a satellite. Which also just makes sense in terms of, like, you know, setting up to eventually do a manned mission to the moon. Like, this is going to just be a clear, we can launch something into space and have it stay up there. Like, it's so vitally important to this whole progress, you know, this whole sequence. We're launching a satellite from our stony new world. Get excited. Oh, it's been a while since we've had some old naked man. Why is Kohaku's dad here? Why is he pretending to know what a satellite is? But yeah, I am excited. Because yeah, it makes sense. It is such a perfect way for them to, like, advance their ability to make spacecraft. To make something that does not need to have people in it, that just needs to be launched into space, and then it'll stay in space for a long ass time. Plus, it means that we can, you know, do a parallel to when Senku, like, sent up the rockets and, you know, took pictures there. Like, oh, we're finally getting to that. God, I love it. I love it. I love it. Dr. Stone is, like, it's hit or miss sometimes, but I'm really happy with this chapter. This was a hit. This was a good ass chapter. And yeah, I'm not going to keep banging on my theory here because I'm pretty sure it's just true. I feel like they just, you know, don't want to touch it for a while. Just, you know, just going to leave that, you know, there for a while. It's just going to linger. Now, I will argue this doesn't really... Stone World's Earth Defense Force isn't really what happened in this chapter. I mean, I guess it is the Earth Defense Force in the sense that, you know, they're putting out their first, like, watchtower, their first thing that will help them defend the Earth. So, yeah, I guess I'll live with that. It makes enough sense. That's Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone goes... Oh, where does it go? Because yeah, it was really fun, but it wasn't... I don't think it was Undead Unluck tier. I don't know if it was Black Clover tier, honestly. Like, it was hype, it was interesting. I'll give it the edge over Black Clover this week. Yeah, that feels okay. But yeah, it wasn't like the absolute most banginest banger, but it was pretty damn good. With that, let us move on to My Hero Academia, chapter 330, Me and Myself. We'll see if we're getting like a 2-page spread on the next page. Because it is, like, it did have the cover of Jump. And I was really excited to see, like, Star, like, you know, in full color. But maybe we'll get that, like, yeah, in on the 2-page spread. Cool, so they have EMP shielding. What's our play? Offense or evasion? Do you even need to ask? We smash! Spoken like a disciple of All Might. Alright. Yeah, we're just not doing it. Interesting. But okay, I don't think I have anything else to really predict. Last chapter I said that I think, Star and Stripes' ability has to be, like, telekinesis. I was imagining, like, you know, old school, like, Superman, like, you know, a telekinetic force field that protects her, but also she can use it offensively. That makes the most sense to me, but it could be anything, really. Okay. It's a strange state I find myself in. I can truthfully declare that I am Tomura Shigaraki, but at the same time, there is no doubt that I am also me. By me, I assume he means All for One. Like, I assume the vestige has now, like, almost entirely fused with Shigaraki. I felt like this ever since I reawakened. Radio waves, plus air cannon, plus heavy payload. Okay. Air. As of now, the air does not exist 100 meters ahead of me. Star and Stripes quirk. New order. What the fuck does this mean? As of now, the air does not exist 100 meters ahead. Like, this feels very conceptual. What I don't mean this as a, like, what the fuck is this? As in, like, I have no idea what this ability could be. Like, the moment I said it, I immediately started buzzing. But, like, this feels like it is in the same realm as, like, you know, like a Nen ability or a stand, something where it's like, you know, it is very rules-based. It is very, like, conceptual, which is not what I think of when I think of quirks. Like, you know, the fundamental concept of a quirk is, like, you know, some part of it is a physical thing. Like, your quirk factor is a physical part of you. And even if what you are doing is not physical, it is still, like, there's this element of groundedness to most quirks. Where it is, like, you know, it is, you are making a thing, or you control a thing, or, like, there's power inside of you. Or, you know, you are, like, yeah. Being able to, like, change the rules of reality is, like, it's so different from so many of the other quirks we've seen in the series. Not in a bad way, like, I'm not nitpicking, it's just, like, this is immediately making my brain go wacky. Okay, I guess I'll just see what, like, however they define it. I don't want to go on this big-ass tangent about what exactly it is. Oh, it's a star! That's so cool! So after touching a target, she can call out the target's name and assign a new rule to it. So yeah, so she is touching the air, and then she is saying, like, the new rule for this air, for the air itself that I am touching is the air that is, you know, in front. The air does not exist 100 meters ahead of me, thus creating. Now the question is, like, has she now, like, stitched this, you know, this space together? Like, now is it a, here's 100 meters, here's another 100, like, you know, here's the 2 points, and now they are side by side? Or did she make, like, just a big, like, vacuum there? Making it, like, making those 2 points connect, like, you know, creating essentially a wormhole feels super conceptual. Whereas, like, making a vacuum doesn't feel quite as conceptual. Okay, I think it is supposed, yeah, like, she's not using it to, like, teleport in front of him or anything. It does seem like, you know, she did, like, make a vacuum there, like a star-shaped, you know, lack of air. All right, laser cannons fire! God, this is so cool! Oh, it's Wedge! Of course, these guys were probably all named after, you know, the squadron that Luke was a part of in episode 4. God, Horikoshi! The laser is holdable. That is so wild. Is that because she's going to throw it back? Or, like, could she have just said the laser doesn't exist? I mean, she already said the air doesn't exist, so I assume she could just, for anything, say it doesn't exist. Oh, the vacuum she created is gone. So I guess it is, like, she can make one thing, like, each time. Or she can, like, every time she assigns a rule, the previous rule disappears. Oh, yeah. Like, it's a really strong ability, but I don't know how well it's gonna stack up against Shigaraki, because, yeah, like, we know for a fact when Aizawa was negating all of his quirks, he was still so unbeatable just through his the sheer amount of strength he has and his regeneration. It is just absurd. Like, having quirks on top of that is just absolute overkill. I can only set up new rules for up to 2 different targets at once. One of the 2 is always myself. Okay, cool. So that does actually explain, like, that does fix one of the, like, problems I had, or, like, one of the questions I was raising last chapter, which was, like, how the hell has she been on this plane this entire time? Like, for a flight from America to Japan, how has she been standing on this plane? Like, even if she has, like, some level of superhuman physical training, which, you know, like, that's a given most of the heroes in the series. But, like, even then, how in the world is she, like, handling the speed at which the plane is going? How is she just standing there? If she's always augmenting herself on some level, that completely explains my question. Like, we don't even need to know what exactly she said. I'm willing to just buy if she, you know, has said, like, as long as she can affect herself, then it's totally fine with me. Years ago, a Japanese student studying abroad saved me. My family and I were on the way to the Santa Monica Pier when it happened. She was so nerdy back in the day. Oh my god. So small, so cute. Does that mean that Midoriya is eventually going to look like this? Because god damn. If this is, you know, the potential future Deku has to look forward to, I am all on board. God damn. Because, yeah, like, she's got a bit of a freckle there. She's got the big glasses. Like, she has as much softness and nerdiness as, like, you know, Chapter 1 Deku did. If not more. Like, not even Chapter 1 Deku. I am thinking of, like, Deku with his mom. Like, you know, tiny little Deku, you know, nodding his head up and down. I'll never forget the sight of those 2 hair tufts. He was my role model from that day forward. As a show of my own even greater dedication to peace, I went for 8 tufts. I mean, she has to be canonically 4 times as good as All Might then. He has 2 tufts, she has 8. Oh, she's gone full Sonic. Or full, like, Dark Spine. Anyway, I've touched you and said your name, so now, if Tomura Shigaraki moves at all, his heart will stop. But of course, this is not Tomura Shigaraki necessarily. as he narrated to himself, he is Shigaraki, but also he's not. So I assume that's going to, that is the big loophole of, if he believes himself to be All For One, then he, this ability will not work on him. Meanwhile, if she then guesses that this is All For One and says, if All For One moves at all, his heart will stop, he could just switch back to being Shigaraki. Like with something like, air or a laser or, physical things, with something that doesn't have an ability to self-identify, then her ability is, completely supreme. And I think even for most people, like, if you were to if she were to touch me and say the Thermite Kitty can no longer breathe, then I think that would work, even if I try to, think about my real name. Like, I do also identify on some level as Thermite Kitty. I can't not. Like, that is something that fundamentally defines me. Like, if someone says that, says my username in real life, I will always respond. Whereas, this character's specific scenario of being Shigaraki, but also not being Shigaraki, I feel like is going to be, the big out here, because we've already set it up. There were signs from the moment I awakened. The boundary was always hazy. Oh, boy. And so, Homura is still in there. He's still fighting. He's still punching and ripping at the vestige. Your sheer hatred, your drive for destruction. The Doctor and I had our expectations, and he rose up to blow them away. But okay, so yeah, this also is, he intended it to be a complete takeover, but it's not going to be a takeover. They are going to be a different person altogether. Because of that, this is not Shigaraki. Ah, not in favor, are you? Well, I sure am. Do you detest me? Let that rage flow. Your hatred delivers us to our glorious future. Ah, it is so wild seeing Shigaraki as essentially just being like an engine. Like, his hatred is what fuels this incredible, whatever he is as a vessel. But the idea that this is not, All For One, this is not a vestige of All For One, and it's not Shigaraki. It is something in between all of that. Ah, God. What a scary ending. I think she's fine, but I think she's gonna have to just beat a retreat. I feel like this is going to be the big, I can't directly affect him. So all I can do is stuff touch the air and say, now the air is solid, or now the air is something else. But she can't, I doubt she's going to keep on going for punches, because she knows at the very least that Shigaraki has decay. That is the big, you can only affect him for a little bit, but once he pulls out decay and, tries to decay you, you're fucked. I feel like this is the moment where she has to beat a retreat. She has to go to All Might and ask what the fuck is happening. Because this is also interesting information. The idea that this is not Shigaraki is, that's gonna fundamentally change the way they approach, this fight. And it raises so many questions. It raises the big question Deku's been struggling with all this time of, can Shigaraki be saved? Is Shigaraki even here? We, as the audience, know Shigaraki's still in there. He's still fighting. But what do the heroes think after this? I still definitely believe in the theory that Shigaraki is going to, break away from All For One. He is going to be an ally at some point. Even if it is, entirely out of spite. I do think he's going to break away. I've never been, a fan of the theory that he is going to inherit All For One. But if anyone, or sorry, not All For One, One For All. Every single reaction I do that. But we've already set up that, he has been designed to be the ultimate vessel. He might be the only character in existence who could actually handle, One For All. We know now, you can't just, pass it on to just anyone. Now it is too powerful. Deku should be the last person to possess it. And I could see Deku passing it on as either a way to overload Shigaraki / All For One / whoever this is, or alternatively, I could see this being a situation where, he passes on, One For All, and then Shigaraki, physically splits from All For One. They do physically split out of the same body. And, Shigaraki has, One For All, and All For One has All For One. But, I don't really like I've never really liked the theory of Deku, giving up that power as, the final twists. I've been a bigger fan of, the theory I always had early on was that at some point near the end of the series, Deku was going to, transfer, One For All to a member of Class 1A, maybe Bakugo, maybe someone else, and then they would, daisy chain it throughout the entire class. Not as a genuine, we're going to use this ability for, an extended period of time, but just as a way to, give everyone a tiny little ember of, a One For All. It felt so in keeping with the nature of One For All. It is literally one for all. Like, I really liked the idea of all of them having the ability at some point, and then they all have a tiny amount of super strength that they can use for the final fights. But, since we've added the extra layer of, like, this quirk is too developed, it's too packed with stuff, it will destroy whoever has it. Like, it will, like, shorten their lifespans. I no longer think that Class 1A, like, anyone else in Class 1A is going to have it. Like, even as a quick, we're going to, like, pass it around. Yeah. If there's going to be any passing it around shenanigans, I think it has to be Deku giving it to Shigaraki. Like, flicking a toenail or something into his mouth and having him eat the DNA and then transferring it and then, like, having a big final fight inside of his mind or inside of his, like, the spiritscape that the vestiges are in. Anyways, that is My Hero Academia. I think Star and Stripes going to be okay, but, like, there's no planes here. I feel like all the planes might be down at this point. Now that we know her ability, I feel like she could probably survive a fall from this height. Like, she could make some, like she can make, like, layers of the air slow her down or something. But I don't think she can beat Shigaraki at this point. I feel like she has to beat her retreat now. So, like, it really depends on how it works. Like, if she can intuit that All For One is in there, could she say, All For One needs to shut the fuck up? No, there's no way she would know. Like, I don't think that's worth really investigating because I don't think she would do it. But it does raise the question of, like if Tomura Shigaraki moves at all, his heart will stop. Is there anything else she could do with Tomura Shigaraki? Like, could she affect him spiritually? I'm so curious. There's so many possibilities. Her quirk is really, really interesting. And, like, just the way it is introduced here, like, as New Order, it's so distinctive. It's so cool. I can see why, like, All For One wanted it so badly. It's such a powerful, versatile quirk. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. Like, I'm excited to see her do more. Like, in the same way that I really liked Mirio, and I really, really found it super hyped to see him actually fighting and making the most of his abilities. Like, I really hope that Star and Stripe doesn't get cut short as a character who is fighting. I really want to see her use her quirk to its absolute extent. I want to see why she is the number one. Like, this has been very impressive, but it's not, like, All Might tier. And, like, I feel like she's gotta be All Might tier. So I just want to see a tiny bit more from her. Otherwise, I won't be satisfied. So, that is My Hero Academia. Fantastic chapter. Yeah, I'll slide it above Dr. Stone. I think this is a bit better than the Dr. Stone chapter. Such a thrill ride. Okay, one more series. Let's go. Next is Me and Roboco, chapter 61. We got the color pages in the front of the magazine. Wait, what? But MHA's on the cover. Wait, what? So, are they implying that they know that if Me and Roboco got the cover, the Jump wouldn't sell? So instead, they put My Hero on the cover. But it is... The order they put these here is... yeah, usually this order is the order of the table of contents. This would imply that My Hero was, at the very start before Me and Roboco. I'll have to see the actual order, like... the author comments are also, like, ordered like that, so... Was Me and Roboco really first? This is such a, like, either way, this is such a wild meta joke. This is such an insane concept. Let's all aim for a cover like this someday. Me and Roboco, too many knees. Oh, this is so cool. They actually translated everything. But okay, chapter 61, Love and Roboco. This is such a good color page, honestly. Like, it's dynamic, everyone is jumping, it's really fun, everyone looks super cute. Volume 5 now on sale, you need it. Center color, most popular knees. Celebrate 60 chapters, super popular knees. These knees, unstoppable. Follow Roboco Tyra on Twitter. The knees keep coming. Reprints, super popular. Center color, Me and Roboco. Roboco's secrets revealed. The knee festival begins. This is a fantastic cover. This is also just such a strong joke. I don't think I've ever seen a series do the joke of what if we had the cover of Jump. Like, it's really a joke that only works because they did not have the cover of Jump. And I genuinely don't know how this happened. Like, did editorial just straight out say, no, Me and Roboco doesn't get to have the cover of Jump? Or did Shuhei Miyazaki say, I want a different series to have the cover of Jump so I can do this joke all about how Me and Roboco didn't get the cover of Jump? What the fuck? This is insane. Damn. So, If she doesn't make it, like, she's not going to just make the family pay, you know, the extra money. She will pay the difference out of her own pockets. That is really heavy. Like, that does add stakes for sure. Okay. El Thor. Oh my, so handsome. Ah, so this is the joke. So, I mean, presumably this is a, you know, like, it's based on order-made technology, but it looks like it is, you know, it's like the things we have in real life, where it is just like, you know, fake person that is, you know, like this. Like, I know this is just a thing that exists actually in Japan. It's existed for a long-ass time. It just looks, you know, slightly better than the ones in real life. Roboco, how did you get this? Not saying any of that. She's so delusional. Which one of us was looking at that little girl's panties, huh? How about you say something? Oh no. But of course, she has a maiden's heart. She can't hate him this much without secretly being in love with him. What a weird, surly, unemotional creep. I guess he was pretty handsome, though. Roboco, you need to stop. Please, I'm begging you, let me sleep. I've been here. This is definitely one of the dark sides of being in a relationship. The occasional when your significant other will not stop and you're like, please, dear God, I need to go to sleep. Which, to be fair, I've been in the opposite situation as well. I have been the one who will not shut the fuck up. I mean, that's Roboco. Roboco is the type to be counting every single time she says the story, because she does genuinely think it is important enough to say 9 times. She is not accidentally repeating herself. She is very intentionally repeating herself over and over and over again. Master really scolded me, but I was forgiven thanks to my natural charms. Roboco, you need to stop. Because this also means, like, I doubt they're moving him. This is just the same area. She just keeps on coming here. She just has not considered the concept of there being construction here. Oh, he did save her life. My mom once, like, when I was a very little kid, there was someone biking. I want to say it wasn't, like, even on the same sidewalk we are, but I think it was on the same sidewalk, but, you know, like, far away enough that they weren't going to clip my mom or anything. But when I was a little kid, I did, like, put out my arm and tell my mom, like, oh, stop. And, like, you know, it's a situation where, like, she has brought it up over and over again as the time I saved her life, and I will never live it down. Because it was the most, like, funny little kid move of trying to, like, you know, stop her from being hit by a biker who was nowhere near her in the slightest. So whenever I see a situation like this, I can't help but think of it in my head as, oh, you saved his life, or you saved her life. Oh, and without Nyan here, there's no one to snap Roboco out of this. There's no one to tell her, hey, this is not a sentient being. This is a construction project for Bermuda Street. Konstitution von Jacques of Mood Strait. What the fuck? How did you read it like that? Roboco, stop. Oh, don't tell me you were protecting the kitties. I mean, he's winning me over. Truly the perfect man. Get you a man who will stand in the middle of nowhere and say, please take the detour over and over and over again. Roboco was confused. She hated him, so why was she going out of her way to see him? She didn't want to admit it. She didn't want to admit how drawn to him she was every time they saw each other. Also, no matter how much you love them, they always die before you do. This is why you swore off 3D romance, remember? I mean, we know Roboco has existed since, like, at least the Edo period. And that fits with this person who I see, you know, they've got the big top knot. They're clearly from the Edo period. This is, I assume, a robot. I mean, this is just, yeah. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a decapitated robot head, or if it is just like, you know, a rice cooker or something. I feel for Mondo. How do you deal with the situation? Also, I have noticed that for the last little while, every time he says Madoka in his mind, he always says it as Madoka. Also, is this a love triangle? Because if it is, he loves me not, he loves my knees. Oh, she ate it. She couldn't bear it. Oh. I mean, how do you deal with the situation? What? I'm a ruthless vagabond who wanders the earth and I'm leaving town today, but please come away with me, Roboco, you say? I mean, he was referencing the fact that he's going to disappear. Like, she did somehow interpret this in a way that vaguely connects to what he was saying. Loves the Tyra household and all of her friends more than she loves this random robot she met a few days ago. Oh, and he did say be safe. Is he truly not sentient? Oh boy, I don't know if this look works for her. We really ended this on just a, like, genuine emotional note. That's honestly really surprising. But damn, like, between that, like, between, you know, this gag filling out the entire chapter and doing pretty damn well. And then the intro gag of just, we got the color pages in the front of the magazine, but we did not get the front of the magazine because people wouldn't buy Weekly Shonen Jump if we were on the cover. Like, that itself is such a perfect joke. And then the chapter itself was also just very heartwarming and good. Like, overall, fantastic Me and Roboco. Like, it's a bit of everything that I would want from the series, legitimately. I don't think it's up there with Undead Unluck. Like, I don't think it's above Undead Unluck, but I'll put it before that. I think this was genuinely better than this week's My Hero Academia. But I think, like, Sakamoto Days was, like, it was just so good. The execution was just so solid. And Undead Unluck was just, you know, a fantastic Undead Unluck. So the highest this gets to go is third, but that's still very high praise. This was good. Fantastic. All right, author comments, then we're out. All right, Mangaka Comments, here we go. So Me and Roboco, like, in the comments, which is closer to the actual, like, you know, sorry, like, the table of contents in the Japanese version, Me and Roboco is at the top. And yeah, a dream come true. Lead color pages in the magazine. I'll work hard so that the next time I'll get the cover as well. This is genuinely a situation where they just didn't get the cover, but they got lead cover pages. I can't believe it. It is so perfect for a gag manga. Ooh, this week's creation is called a Saticon, and it's a small camera invented in Japan. Interesting. Let me take a look at this. Oh no, I don't want to print it. I don't want to print it. Okay. Yeah, so this is what they used to make the display. Oh, that's really cool. Cool. Horikoshi, take all the breaks you want. Don't you dare let anyone push you down. Horikoshi deserves a break every single month, at the very least. Hey, Koji Miura got the second shot. Yeah, the mangaka are getting safe. Maybe this year they'll actually do the, you know, the big jump gala again. I mean, they probably shouldn't, but, like, at the very least, maybe they'll do, like, a distance version of it or something. I love jerky. I think being able to eat meat as a snack is a good thing. I'm not the biggest fan of jerky, but I do like pepperettes. There's something very satisfying about them. Especially, like, this week, since I've been very sick, I haven't been able to eat a whole lot of meats, but I have tried to, like, get a pepperette in every once in a while as a, like, you know, human beings don't need meats. Like, we can be completely fine going full vegan, but I like having the occasional bit of meat. I feel like, even if it is just purely placebo, I feel like it helps me, like, recover when I'm really hurt. Even if I can't, like, physically tolerate it, hence the need for something that's already, like, kind of processed. Hajime Komoto also got the second shots. Yeah. Again, it took me out completely, so anytime anyone else is just like, yeah, I got a high fever, or I was in bed all day, fully relates. For my birthday, I got a model of Wedge's Red Squadron helmet, and now I'm invincible. Aw, my family dog's been called up to heaven. It was so sudden. I wanted to change my mood, so I grabbed some scissors and I had around and cut my hair. Poor Minya Hiraga. Sucks. Like, I've never been a pet person myself, but, like, anytime I've been at my fiance's place, I've hung out with their pets a lot, and yeah, I get it. It really sucks to lose, like, a beloved family pet like that. Well, I wish Minya Hiraga the best, and thank you, anyone who is still watching. Yeah. This has been pretty chaotic, and I'm just, you know, I'm trying to get the channel back on track, so thank you for sticking with me. And if you haven't been sticking with me, but you're still looking at this, at the very least, you watched one of these videos, and that's more than I could possibly ask for. Like, I am just grateful to anyone who is still checking out the channel, and anyone who is continuing to share my love of manga with themselves. It makes me feel really good to know that I'm not totally alone. If you're not on the server, please get on the server. If you don't want to be on the server, still, you know, comment down below. I read all my comments, even if I don't always respond to them. I do appreciate it, and, like, I am definitely watching everything at the very least. Thank you once more. Bye for now. Yeah.